common mistakes to avoid in degree apprenticeship applications. In this video, I'm going to give you 10 common mistakes to avoid in your degree apprenticeship applications, exactly what it says on the tin. Now, why should you listen to me? Just a quick introduction. My name's Owen. I'm a degree apprentice and I help people get degree apprenticeships. As you can see on the screen here, I've helped people get degree apprenticeships from a whole bunch of companies like JLR, Amazon, KPMG, HSBC, and Rolls-Royce, just to name a few. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so mistake number one is not researching the company properly. Okay, don't worry about the yellow paragraph for now, just focus on me. Okay, so degree apprenticeships are very competitive. I recommend you apply to at least 10. You want to be applying to loads. You don't want to be applying to just one because they're so competitive. You could end up not getting that job and then you're in a bit of a mess. Okay, so you're going to be applying to lots and lots of degree apprenticeships. What that means is you're going to have to do lots and lots of applications. And this is where the temptation comes in to just write a generic application and then just copy and paste it for every single company. Okay, but the problem with writing a generic application is it doesn't give the company a reason to hire you. If you just write in your CV or write in your cover letter, write in your application questions, I want to do your degree apprenticeship, and then don't say anything else because it's just generic, you haven't personalized it, it's not a very strong application. Okay, so this is mistake number one, not actually personalizing properly, not researching the company properly, just copy and pasting. Okay, when you research the company properly, it's going to mean you can properly personalize your application to every single company and give them that solid reason for employing you. Okay, they know you're dedicated, they know you've done the hard work of researching, and they can tell that you align with their company. So for example, in your application, if you're putting in paragraphs like this is going to be really good because it shows you've done the research. So I'd like to work for your company because I know that your company cares about sustainability and it has the goal of being net zero by 2029. You've had to research that. I believe that reaching net zero is a crucial target for the construction industry. There you go, you're matching with their values. Furthermore, I read about your work on the English Metro. Again, you're interested. You're actually reading about the projects they are currently working on. This interests me because last time I delivered a presentation to 20 people in my engineering society. And there we go. You've delivered a presentation. You've got some presentation skills. This is a super powerful paragraph. If you use this paragraph right here, use it as a template to the companies you're applying to and make sure you're personalizing the research. It's going to make your application much more attractive. Okay. So mistake number two is not linking work experience to skills. Okay, so a lot of people in their CV, they'll mention their work experience. Okay, but the problem is they won't say anything about it. Let me give you an example. So, for example, in someone's CV, work experience, worked as a customer service assistant at Tesco's. During my shifts, I would manage the tills and restock the shelves. I would also talk to customers when they had issues. Okay, if I'm a degree apprentice recruiter for like some technology degree apprentice, like digital and technology solutions, or maybe a civil engineering degree apprenticeship, I'm going to look at this and be like, why do I care? Okay, why do I care? What has being a customer, like literally a cashier, like customer service is just like a, you've just made it sound better than what it is. You're a cashier, right? You're a cashier at Tesco. What's that got to do with mechanical engineering, right? What's that got to do with software engineering? What's that got to do with some like commercial banking that you're going to be, apprenticeship that you're going to be doing? Okay, it's got nothing to do with it. Okay, so this is where you need to include the skills, and this is the mistake I've seen people fall into when I've analyzed people's CVs and cover letters, is they mention the work experience but they don't make it relevant. Okay, because at the moment this top one, it's just not relevant. Who cares, right? You make it relevant by linking it to skills. Okay, so whenever you're putting in work experience, like random work experience like Tesco's, maybe some sports coaching, if you're putting in like you go to the gym, you play an instrument, you do a sport, always make sure you're linking it to skills, because then it goes from something which is irrelevant to something which is useful to your application. Okay, this top one is basically useless for your application. This bottom one's amazing. What's different in this bottom one? Well, I've linked it to skills. Okay, so you manage the tills and restock the shelves. Add this sentence in here. This required me to work independently and use my organization skills. Straight away there, now we can see you've got organization skills. Okay, it's relevant. The next one is you can add in a sentence, this developed my interpersonal skills as I had to talk to new people, etc., etc., etc. There we go. We can tick off interpersonal skills. That's showing that you have those skills. Okay, so that's the mistake there that I've seen when I've been analyzing people's CVs and cover letters, is they just mention the work experience and say nothing about it. It's like, who really cares? Oh, you put in the skills. Oh, I can see you'd be a really good candidate for this degree apprenticeship. Now it's relevant. Okay, and just a quick plug, if you want me to analyze your CV or cover letter, just go down and click the link in the description. I can give you personalized feedback on basically where you can improve. Okay, so let's move on to the next mistake. So when you're going through your CV and you're putting in these skills, as I mentioned, to basically show how good of a candidate you are, a lot of people don't even think about the job description. Okay, the job description is the best resource you have in the degree apprenticeship application process. Okay, because they literally have in the job description, they'll have like a required skills section, or they'll have a desirable skills section, which is literally a bullet point list of the skills they are looking for. Okay. A big mistake here is not using this list. You want to utilize this list. Literally, use this list as a checklist. You want to tick off every single skill from this job description. This is like the cheat code for getting a degree apprenticeship. It's just match the job description exactly. Because if you match the job description exactly, you are literally like equivalent to the perfect candidate. Okay, if they're looking for these 10 things, you have all 10 things, then that is exactly what you are looking for. Okay. So, for example, in this job description, it wants someone who's organized, creative, challenges, problem solving, good at communicating, right? Attention to detail, working in a team, positive working relationships, using Microsoft software. If you can, in your CV and cover letter, mention every single one of those things and literally tick them off, then that's an amazing way of doing it. And again, this is where it comes down to personalization. It's going to be different for different jobs. These boxes here, these are 2 different apprenticeships, 2 different job descriptions. They have different required skills. This is where you want to make sure for each of your CVs and cover letters, you're personalizing it and using the skills from the specific job description. Okay, so in like CV1, where you're applying to this company, you'd use all of these skills. In like the second version of your CV, which you tweak slightly and personalize, you'd use all of these skills. Okay, and they're slightly different for different companies. For example, in this first CV, you'd make sure you're mentioning you've used a Microsoft software before. The second one, they don't really care, so you don't have to necessarily. Okay, this is a mistake I see. People don't match job description exactly. You want to tick off 100% of the things they say in the job description so that you are literally presenting yourself as the perfect candidate. Okay, the next one is spelling mistakes. This is a mistake people make, and I see it all the time when they send me their CV cover letter. And I'm like, doesn't Word have that thing where like the red line comes under it if you make a spelling mistake? Like realistically, in 2024, you shouldn't be making spelling mistakes on your CV and cover letter. But whatever, it is what it is. People make spelling mistakes. Just make sure you don't do this. Okay, I was on a call with a recruiter the other day, and they told me if they see spelling mistakes, they'll just get rid of it instantly. Because here's the reality with degree apprenticeships: they have hundreds of people applying for each role. Like they have thousands of people in total applying to these degree apprenticeships. They have so many candidates, they don't know what to do with them. They just want to get rid of half of them. So if they can find any reason at all to get rid of you, they will. Okay? So if they start reading your CV, they start reading your cover letter, and they see a spelling mistake, they'll just get rid of you. Okay? They're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you'd be a good candidate. It's like they just want a reason to get rid of you. Okay? So don't make spelling mistakes. Do your spell check. Get Grammarly. Read through it out loud. Get someone else to read it, whatever it is. Make sure there's no spelling mistakes. All your grammar is all good by the time you submit it. Right. So here's another thing I've seen that people do in their CV. They always seem to have this sort of section, which is key skills. Just ignore this one at the bottom for the second. Just look at this top one. A lot of people have like this sort of key skills section. Okay, they call it key skills, and they just put a bullet point of their skills. Okay, communication, working well in a team, problem solving, interpersonals, perseverance, willing to learn, growth mindset. Okay. The problem with this is, and again, this is what recruiters have told me, they don't believe you. Okay? Anyone can write these key skills here. Like I could go onto like Word right now, do key skills, and I could write down communication, works well in a team, does a backflip, is fluent in Spanish, and has a growth mindset. Okay? I could do that. No one believes you. So that's a problem when you just list these skills. It's sort of a waste of time. It's a waste of space, completely redundant, because they just don't believe you. This is where you need to show evidence. Okay, and you show evidence by basically embedding these skills in proper examples, proper work experience, proper key achievements. Okay, so here's an example down here below so you know what I'm talking about. Rather than just saying communication works well in a team, whatever, problem solver, embed it in the scenario. I achieved my Gold Duke of Edinburgh award, and this required dedication, and I had to like collaborate as a team, be agile, we had to overcome obstacles and adapt plans and work well with people I never met before. There we go. I've now straight away shown evidence of these skills. Okay, before they didn't believe you when you just wrote a bullet point. It's like anyone can write a bullet point, but now they're like, oh, this guy actually did D.A.V. Oh, he actually must have communication skills. He's not just writing it down on a piece of paper. Okay, so in your CV, make sure you don't have this key skill section. It's a complete waste of space. You just want to make sure all your skills, you're embedding them in real life scenarios, whether that's you in a sports team, whether that's you in work experience, whether it's a course you did, whether it's D.A.V., whether it's some sort of volunteering, whatever it is, embed the skills here, because listing them, they don't believe you. There's no point. Here's another example. You could just write key skills, organization. I don't believe you. Or you can embed it into a sentence. You worked as an IT assistant. You did a project to reorganize, which required your organizational skills, and it increasing overall efficiency by 30%. There you go. They've got some concrete, solid evidence. You have organization skills because you did this project, and they have like a KPI, a key performance indicator, showing, oh, it increased it by 30%. Okay, you actually have proper organizational skills, rather than this just sort of generic sentence that anyone, this like generic section that anyone could write. Okay, the next mistake is using ChatGPT, and now this one is probably going to be more and more popular, but you don't want to do it. Okay, it's so easy. You can just write in a prompt like write me CV, write me application questions, whatever, and it'll just write it all for you. There's a couple of problems with this. Number one, a lot of applications these days are scanned through AI detecting software, so it's just you'll get detected, and then your applications can get thrown out. So it's just a waste of time. The second thing is, this is something that recruiters have told me. AI answers aren't even very good, okay, because they're all the same. It's like large language models or whatever they're called. They just have like the same base of information, and when you put in the same prompts, they're more or less going to come out with the same thing. So the problem is you can actually make better answers, better CVs yourself than ChatGPT, because everyone ChatGPT will just do the exact same thing. You're not going to stand out as a candidate. You're not going to be a unique candidate. You're not going to like look like you have any extraordinary abilities or anything like that. You're just going to look like everyone else. And then the third and final reason not to use ChatGPT is just you're not going to understand like the meta. Okay, the meta with applying to degree apprenticeships is being able to show your skills, being able to look at the work experience and key achievements you've done, scenarios you've been through, and pull out those skills and effectively explain those to the recruiter. Because in your interview, they're going to ask about things in your CV. They're going to ask about your experiences. You're going to have to explain those out loud and probably explain to the recruiter why they need to hire you. If you've just used ChatGPT, yeah, it's going to save you some time because you can just do it in 5 seconds. But by the time you get to the interview, you're not going to understand what to say. Okay, I've seen this firsthand. Someone who used ChatGPT to write a CV, they didn't really know what they were doing in the interview because they'd never gone through the process of writing a CV. They didn't understand what they were actually saying in terms of their skills, their work experience, their key achievements, all that sort of thing. So I know it's tempting, but don't do it. Don't use ChatGPT. Just write it properly. If you need help with CVs or cover letters, I've got videos on the YouTube channel to help with that. You can go check out those. Okay, this is another mistake I see, not understanding the role. And this one I understand where it's coming from, because a lot of people are coming to degree apprenticeships, you're coming from A levels, and then there's all these roles, these degree apprenticeships, which are like nothing like you've ever seen before. Okay, so for example, if you're going to an engineering degree apprenticeship, likely you've never done engineering before. Like maybe you did maths A level, physics A level, but you probably never did engineering before. Similarly, with things like transport planning, right? Things like commercial banking, financial services. These are things you probably didn't study directly, maybe did economics, but it's going to be very different in the working world. Information management, right? Network engineer. If you're applying to be a network engineer, could you actually explain to me what are the day-to-day things that a network engineer does? You probably can't, okay? This is what a lot of people do. They apply to these not understanding the role. So this is where you can really stand out and make yourself look like a really good candidate if you're like the one person out of like 10 people in the interview who can properly explain the role. Okay, they can ask you a question, which is a very common question, by the way, for interviews. What do you expect to be doing in this role? And you can give a proper answer, right? This is what I expect to be doing on my day-to-day. I'll do this. These sorts of responsibilities I'm going to have. If you can understand your role properly, then it's going to like give you a massive boost in the application process. Okay, how do you understand the role properly? Number one, you want to Google the Institute for Apprenticeships website and find the apprenticeship you're applying to. There's a screenshot of this here, Institute for Apprenticeships. You can go in the search bar, search your apprenticeship. There's loads of information. We can basically learn the kind of things you'll be doing in your role. Number two is network with current apprentices. So if you need to message them on LinkedIn or go to any in-person events, that sort of thing, ask them literally, what do you do on a day-to-day? They're going to give you a super accurate answer. And the third one is if you get work experience within your industry, then you understand like how work works and like what the day-to-day of someone in that job is. And then you're going to understand that role. It's going to make you a really attractive candidate. Now, this is a simple one. Not following application guidelines. Okay, so when you need to apply, they're going to say, we want your CV, cover letter, as a PDF or as a Word document. Okay, make sure you do it as the right file type. Similarly, there's going to be application questions. Answer, why do you want to do this degree apprenticeship in no more than 200 words, in no more than 300 words, in a maximum of 1,000 characters. Make sure you follow it. Again, as I said earlier, there are so many people applying, they just want any reason to get rid of you, just so they can cut down the numbers and save their own time. So if you just do something wrong here, do it as the wrong file type, go slightly over the word limit, it's just a reason for them to kick you out. Okay, so this is a mistake I see, not following the application guidelines. Make sure you follow them properly, complete the whole application correctly. Okay, now another one is unprofessional email address. Okay, so imagine like your email address, you like set it up when you were 13 and like used to play Minecraft or something, and your email address is like angrypigman44@gmail.com. it just doesn't look professional when you're like having to put that on your CV and you're emailing the recruiters and all this sort of thing. Keep it professional. The way it works in the workplace is an email address is usually first name dot last name at gmail.com or whatever. Okay, so what you can do is, and I definitely recommend this as well, because you're going to get loads of emails to do degree apprenticeships. It's just easier if you separate them from your personal, where you've got all your Instagram, your YouTube, random notifications like that. Separate it into a new sort of business work email. You can create just a new Gmail for free and just call it something like first name dot last name. And if you need like a number, like if it's taken like first name dot last name 7 at gmail.com, use that for all your degree apprenticeship applications. It's going to be professional and it's going to be separate from your personal, so you're not going to miss anything. Okay, so now the final one is applying too late. Degree apprenticeship applications, as I've said, are very competitive. A lot of people apply, which means a lot of companies close their applications early. So if the applications open, for example, on the 7th of January, you want to be applying within the first 7 days. Say applications open on like the 15th of November, you want to be applying within the first few weeks. You don't want to be waiting a month, you don't want to be waiting 2 months, because then it's likely that applications will close early, and once they're closed, they're closed. Okay, they're not going to reopen just for you because, oh, I didn't realize they'd closed so early, I didn't get around to making my application. Make sure you've planned everything in advance. Maybe start working on it now, working on your CV cover letter now, a couple of months in advance. It means by the time the application's open, you're ready, you can apply within the first week. You're not going to get disappointed. Okay, there we go. So I've covered the 10 common mistakes to avoid in your degree apprenticeship applications. I hope this has been useful. And then just one final plug, if you're interested in my program to help people get degree apprenticeships, and also if you want a CV or cover letter analysis so I can give you personalized feedback to improve your chances of getting a degree apprenticeship at the companies you're interested in, go click the first link in the description. You can read those 2 testimonials there. Have a great rest of your day. See you later. Peace out.